Oh, that's right. I was telling you about the Gigantus. Until you went off somewhere. Come, young people are so impatient. Now, listen well. The Gigantus is an earthen structure that hearkens to the voice of the sea, for 'tis a servant of the brine. Just as the arisen commands the pawns, so too does the sea's peril compel the Gigantus. Supposedly, the brine have their colossal servant monitor the dragon to ensure that it commits no acts of excess. As for what the brine deem an act of excess, I could not tell you. Some would argue that 'tis the hand of excess what brings the cup of fine ale to our lips time and time again. But what of it? Those unbidden sips of ale are what keep the throat from growing parched. Without them, life would be a dull affair indeed. That brings me back to what I was saying about the... what was I talking about again? Ah, of course, the Gigantus. 'Tis formed of clay, and tall enough to graze its brow upon the very clouds. What's more, 'tis said its lofty gaze watches o'er the world even now. And should it be stirred to life by the voice of the sea, mayhap 'twould do aught to put that dragon in its place. You do not believe, but I assure you 'tis no less than the truth. I've beheld it all with my own eyes. Why must I explain? The proof is in the pudding. Of course. I was telling you aught I know of the sea's peril, of the brine. And you'd know that if you hadn't fallen asleep the moment I'd begun. Now, 'tis common knowledge that the brine halt any ships seeking to venture into open waters. As if to say, there's naught out there, so don't bother looking. But does that not strike you as rather miserly? Even if we are to believe that there's naught across the sea, why must we be kept to our shores? I should like to confirm for myself if there's truly naught to be found, and why should we? An old man with naught, sailing out into a sea and dying for naught. Where's the harm in that? When I said as much to the bride, they only stared at me in amazement. A lie, it may all seem, but 'tis the honest truth. I beheld it all with my own eyes. No one believes a word I say. Why must I explain? The proof is... Yes, of course. We were speaking of places elsewhere. Mayhap 'tis beyond your ken, but this world of ours is not the real one. This world is a cycle. The dragon emerges, the dragon is slain, and just when we think we have found peace at last, the dragon appears once more. 'Tis endless and tiresome, wouldn't you say? Yet, such is the lot of those who reside in a false world like ours. The real world is not nearly so stagnant. All manner of things occur there. 'Tis a far more fearsome existence than ours, to be sure. Is there a way to travel to the real world, you ask? Must I do all the thinking here? Ponder that yourself. What I will say is that I believe the cycle will continue unbroken for as long as the dragon continues to be slain. You doubt your ears, but I speak truly. I have beheld the real world with my own eyes. No one believes a word I say. That's right. I was telling you about the Gigantus. Until you went off somewhere. Come, young people. Those who call me a madman ought to leave me be. All people fear the dragon, yet 'tisn't the threat itself.